Hi guys, so I'm going to read Tales from the Crypt number 22.
So featuring the keeper of the Crypt of Terror, the keeper of the Vault of Horror, the old witch from the Haunt of Fear.
And it's signed by Feldstein, the artist.
The Crypt of Terror. Well, so we meet again, dear friends. Welcome. Welcome once more to the Crypt of Terror. This time I have a really chilling tale for my collection of spine tinglers to relate to you. Now, lie back in your caskets. Tuck yourselves with your shrouds. Comfy? Good. Then I'll begin. I call this story The Thing from the Grave. James Barry and William Firth were both in love with the same girl, Laura Mason. Jim was kind, considerate, a gentleman. Bill was brazen, fun-loving, and at times, Laura was almost afraid of him. And so when Jim asked the inevitable question,
"Marry me, Laura. I know I can make you happy."
"But, Jim, what about Bill? I'm afraid of what he'll do when he finds out."
"Don't worry, Laura. Bill will have to take it like a man. All's fair in love and war, you know."
"Yes, but Bill isn't the type to give up easily."
Laura didn't know how right she was when she spoke those words. Yes, Bill was not the type to give up so easily. He wanted Laura. "And I'll have her too, even if I have to kill you, James Barry." Soon, Laura and Jim were married. They were very happy those first few weeks. But then, business called Jim out of town for a few days.
"I'll be back Thursday night, dearest."
"Oh, Jim, I'm afraid. I don't want to be left alone. Bill might."
"Bill won't do anything to you, Laura. But if you ever are in danger, no matter where I am, somehow I'll get to you and save you."
"You're joking with me, James Barry, but I've been serious."
"So have I, Laura. So have I. Bye."
"Bye, Jim. Hurry back."
Jim's car sped along a dark country road towards the main highway. The headlights, knifing through the velvety blackness, suddenly fell upon
"A man standing on the road."
Jim pressed hard on his brakes, and the car screeched to a stop.
"Crazy fool! I could have killed you. Who are you, anyway?"
"Bill, it's me, Bill." The shadowy figure moved towards the car, and as he passed the headlight, a glint of shiny steel caught Jim's eye.
He's got a knife. He's gonna kill me."
The sound of a struggle shattered the silence hanging over the deserted road, and the heavy woods flanking it. Then there was a thud and a piercing shriek. "And now Laura will be mine, all mine." Bill Firth picked up the body of the murdered James Barry and dragged it into the woods. "Got to get rid of the body so no one will ever find it. Got to bury it deep in these woods." Again the thick silence of the woods was broken, this time by the sound of a spade striking the soft earth below towering trees.
Sorry to give you such a cruel burial, Jim, old boy, but it's the best I can do under the circumstances.
Soon, a gaping hole was opened, and the stiff body of James Barry was dropped into it.
Now to cover it up, ditch the car and get back home. And all I do is wait. If I play my cards right, she'll be mine.
A little later, the sleek form of James Barry's automobile hurtled over a cliff into a deep lake.
They'll never find the car. It'll sink into the mud at the bottom of the lake.
And so the job was done. Bill Firth had planned everything carefully. The weeks went by, and then the time came for him to go and see Laura.
Yes, Laura, but it's over a month now. He's left you. He's probably found another woman.
I can't believe that, Bill. Something's happened to him. I know it. I feel it.
Bill could wait. He had plenty of time. She'd come around, he was sure, after another month.
If anything had happened to him, you would have known it by now, Laura. Can't you see? He's left you, deserted you.
I'll wait for him to come back.
He'll never come back. Never.
Then I'll wait for him forever. I'll never stop loving him, Bill. Jim was my life. Without him...
Then it's all wasted. The planning, the work, the waiting. Wasted.
What do you mean? What are you saying?
Yes, I killed him. He's dead. I wanted you, Laura, and he stood in my way.
You killed Jim? I hate you! You maniac! Hate you! Hate!
Now, I've got to kill you, Laura. If I can't have you, no one else will either. I'll make sure of that.
You're mad. A raving madman.
Bill Firth forced Laura into his car and drove her to a deserted cabin, deep in the woods near where he had killed Jim.
This room has no windows, so when I lock you in, you won't be able to escape.
What are you gonna do to me?
I'm gonna set fire to the cabin. They'll never find what's left of you. Never. It'll be ashes. All ashes.
Faced with the horror of being burned alive by this madman, Laura screamed for help. It was an ear-splitting scream that shot through the woods, reverberating from tree to tree, rock to rock. And somewhere out there, under the soft earth that covered it, something stirred, then pushed its decayed and rotting hand up, through the black dirt, into the black night. Slowly, the earth gave way as the thing pushed upward, clawing. The clean, fresh air seeped down into its shallow grave. It got to its feet clumsily, stood erect in the moonlight. It lifted its head, listening. It had heard a scream that had made it seek the open air. It moved forward at a stumbling gait. Its rotted legs, its sightless eyes, the decayed flesh that clung here and there to whitened bone, moved through the underbrush. Back at the cabin, Bill poured the can of kerosene around the outside walls.
Go ahead. Scream, you fool. No one will hear you.
But out in the deep shadows of the woods, the thing heard the scream and stumbled forward towards it. The cabin was on fire now. Inside, Laura cringed against the door as the flames licked at her. White, hot.
Oh, save me, Jim, whoever you are. You promised. Oh!
Outside, Bill watched as the flames leaped higher and higher. Then, from the fringe of the trees, he saw the thing coming, stumbling, staggering.
Good Lord!
The thing did not see Bill. It was looking at the burning cabin. Bill put his hand over his mouth. He was sick. He whimpered.
Jim!
The thing went into the fire. It did not feel the flames licking at its tattered clothes, its rotted flesh. It was dead. It could feel nothing. After a few moments it came out. Its hair was singed. Its decayed flesh was charred. Where the fire had touched the bone, it was black and scorched. It carried the girl. Bill was screaming now. He began to run wildly into the woods, screaming. Ah! The thing put Laura down on the cool grass, far from the burning cabin. She was unconscious. She had fainted before the thing had reached her. She had not seen it. Then the thing turned towards the hysterical shrieking that came from the nearby woods. Slowly it shambled towards the screaming Bill as he crashed madly through the thick undergrowth.
He's coming after me!
Suddenly, Bill stumbled into a yawning black hole.
Good God! His grave! Jim's grave! Where I buried him!
The thing was coming now. Bill tried to stand, but he couldn't. The pain! He had broken his leg. He tried to drag himself from the shallow pit. But then...
No! No!
The thing was on top of him, pinning him down. He tried to struggle, but the thing was strong. It held him easily.
Let me go! Let me go! You're dead! Dead!
And then the thing began, with rotted and decaying hand, to fill the grave again, burying them.
No, you can't bury me! I'm alive! Alive!
It didn't take long to fill the grave. The dirt was getting to Bill's eyes, his mouth. His screaming was wilder now. Hysterical, mad, terrorized screaming. And then, after a while, the screaming stopped. And that's my story, dear reader. Jim certainly kept his promise to Laura, didn't he? Lucky for her, she fainted before he got there, though. She'll always remember him in a nice way, now. And poor Bill. Now Jim's got him for company. down there where it's cold and black. Well, they can always hold grave conversations together. Now, if you're not too broken up over this tale, why not read on? More chills await you. So you all like vampire stories, eh? Well, this one will curdle your blood. I call it Blood Type V.
Or 5. I'm not entirely sure. I think it's V. But
As my story opens, a sleek black convertible streaks along a deserted highway. Late one dark moonlit night.
Please, Freddy, drive slower. I'm nervous.
don't worry, Jean. She handles like a baby carriage.
Suddenly, from out of the gloom, a huge fallen tree looms across the path of the speeding auto.
Freddy, look out!
What the?
There is a crash of metal and shattering glass as 2 tons of steel hurtle crazily into the fallen barrier. Then, silence. A twisted mass of wreckage lies grotesquely on a lonely country highway. Slowly, one of the occupants of the smashed car stirs, shakes his head.
What happened? Jean.
Frantically, Freddy struggles to free the pinned girl from the wrecked auto.
She's unconscious. Got to get help.
Shocked and stunned, the man staggers weakly down the road in search of aid.
A light over there. Maybe have a phone. Can call a doctor.
Fred Duncan, ace reporter for the Evening Sun, makes his way toward the dark form of the ramshackle house and knocks. There is no answer.
No one home. Door open. Here's a phone. I'll call Doc Benson. He lives nearby.
In a few minutes, another car flashes along the highway toward the scene of the accident.
Here he comes. Doc! Doc! It's me, Freddy!
The car screeches to a stop before the wildly waving figure of Fred Duncan.
What happened, Freddy? Accident. Down the road. Jean's unconscious. Hurry!
Fred Duncan gets into the doctor's car, and they rush to the scene of the wreck.
There she is.
Did you call an ambulance?
Why, no,
Incredible. This girl's almost dead. From the loss of blood.
What? But...
Yes. It's very strange. She only has a few minor cuts above the head and shoulders, and yet she has lost an almost fatal amount of blood. She will need a transfusion immediately.
Will I do?
A hasty blood type test proves. No, Freddy. You're not her blood type. Neither am I.
What can we do? Is there time to get her to town?
No, I don't know what to do.
Perhaps I can be of service.
What?
Who are you?
I was just passing by. Perhaps my blood will do. A quick test reveals.
You have the same blood type. Roll up your sleeve.
Of course.
The minutes tick by as the life-giving liquid flows slowly into the dying girl's veins. Soon.
It is done. You have saved her life, sir.
How can I ever repay you, Mr.
My name does not matter. I only care to know this girl's identity for sentimental reasons.
She's Jean Jackson. Lives in town. Works on the paper with me. The Evening Sun.
The tall stranger smiles and bows, then turns and disappears into the night.
Odd that he should have come upon us when he did.
Thank heavens, or else Jean would have been a goner.
Doc Benson and Fred Duncan take Jean back into town and have her admitted to the hospital. But the next morning...
Freddy, I came over as soon as I could. Jean's disappeared.
From the hospital? Where did she go?
I don't know.
Come on, Doc. We've got to look for her. She's in no condition to be roaming around.
There is no sign of Jean at her apartment, and none of her friends or relatives have seen her. She is gone, vanished into thin air.
Amnesia, perhaps?
I wonder.
That night, as a ragged, homeless man tramps a lonely highway outside of town.
Strange. I seem to hear a flapping noise, like a bat's wings. No!
And, in the blackness of the night, a twisted figure, his face distorted in pain, lies on a lonely road. Dead, the blood drained from his contorted body. The next day, the town is shocked by the discovery of the body.
It's the work of a vampire. Nonsense. There is no such thing.
Can't be too sure, Caleb. Remember old Rufus? How he died?
In the days that followed, Fred Duncan searched everywhere for Jean, to no avail. Meanwhile, 4 deaths in 4 nights. A person ain't safe at night anymore.
Vampires. It's madness.
And then, one night, Doc Benson came to Freddy.
I've been thinking about Jean, Freddy. She's in great danger, wherever she is.
What do you mean, Doc?
I remember that when I examined her, among the small lacerations and aberrations on her neck were 2 small holes that might account for her tremendous loss of blood.
Then you think she was attacked by the vampire while I was calling you?
Precisely. But the emergency transfusion robbed the vampire of a victim. However, it will try again.
But what can I do?
You've got to get that vampire before it hunts her, or finds her.
Wait a minute. That lonely stretch of road where Jean and I had the accident. All of the vampire's victims were attacked in that same locality. If we were to go there, armed...
The only method known to destroy a vampire is to drive a wooden stake through its heart. So...
This is the place where the accident occurred. I'll stay here, Doc. You go on down the road.
Good. Perhaps one of us will attract him.
The minutes dragged into hours. And then... Yeah!
Doc!
Snatching the stake he had brought, Freddy rushed toward the screaming doctor.
Good Lord! The vampire! It's killed Doc!
Rushing up to the feasting beast, Freddy rammed the stake into its heaving chest.
Inhuman! Devil!
The vampire fell to the ground, dead. Freddy turned it over with his foot.
It can't be. No. No. Jean! Jean, dearest! You the vampire? But how? How?
Elementary.
You! The man who saved your life.
Yes, I made her a vampire. At first she was to be my victim, but then her beauty. I fell in love with her. I wanted her. That's why I volunteered the transfusion. Giving her my blood made her a vampire, and she came to me. But now you have killed her, and so I must kill you.
No! No!
The witch's cauldron. Welcome, dear readers. Come in, come in. I am the old witch. In each issue of this, the Crypt Keeper's magazine, I brew a spine-tingling terror tale here in my cauldron. As the contents steam and bubble, gaze into the vapors, and soon you'll see the first scene of a tale I call Death's Turn. A lone figure carrying a leather briefcase stands in the deserted midway of a run-down amusement park.
This place certainly is a flop. Not a customer around.
Down at the other end of the empty midway, in a check-marked office, two men are talking.
We won't be able to keep open another week, Kane. Business is rotten. There must be a way to get folks out here, Crossan. We're not licked yet. Oh. Okay. We need something new. Something different. Something that no other amusement park around here has. A super attraction. Eh, Kane?
Suddenly, there is a knock on the door, and a man carrying the briefcase enters the shack.
Yeah, bud. What can we do for you? Are you the owners of this amusement park? Yes, we're the unfortunate ones. Gentlemen, your problems are solved. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Robert Bixby, construction engineer. I have, here in this briefcase, plans for a new type high-speed roller coaster. But we have a roller coaster. That old thing, it's outdated. I have designed a roller coaster far superior to the ones found in any amusement park in the world. It is faster, has sharper drops. One, for example, is almost straight down for 200 feet. Kane, this is it. Just what we need. Yes, Crossan. I can see it now. The fastest roller coaster in the world. We dare you to ride it. Mister, we'll buy it. Let's see the plans. Ah, gentlemen, there's just one stipulation. Strings attached? Okay, what's your proposition? For these plans, I want to be taken in as a third partner in the entire amusement park.
A third partner? Why, that's highway robbery.
Take it or leave it. There are other men who'd be willing to.
Okay, it's a deal. We'll draw up the necessary papers.
Good. As soon as we're all signed up, I'll show you the plans and a working model that I've constructed.
The next night, at Robert Bixby's home.
Now that the papers are all signed and in order, Bixby, how about showing us this super roller coaster? All right, gentlemen, this way.
Bixby leads Kane and Crossan into a large room.
There it is, gentlemen, a scale model.
Looks kinda queer to me.
It is built on the principle of a bobsled. No rails. This curved runway is scientifically banked at each turn and drop. This reduces friction and allows greater speed. The first drop is practically straight down. A slight twist in the curved track keeps the car from actually becoming a free-falling body. The speed gathered here will be between 100 and 105 miles per hour. There then follows a series of turns, banks, rises, and more. Drops calculated to maintain this speed throughout the ride. The car is stopped by a 200-foot incline, which it climbs under its own power. It is then ready to begin again. Amazing! Absolutely amazing!
How soon can construction on this eighth wonder begin?
Immediately. Eighth wonder, they say. That's great. That's what we'll call it. The eighth wonder of the world.
And so, work on the new super roller coaster is begun. Soon, giant fingers of steel point skyward.
Bixby, your brainchild better be all you say it is, or else we thunk every last cent we got in this. Don't worry, gentlemen. Mathematical figures cannot lie. It will work.
Little by little, as the days and weeks go by, the huge colossus takes shape.
Well, gentlemen, it is almost complete.
And then, the long-awaited day arrives when the last rivet is driven home, and the eighth wonder of the world is completed.
Finished! At last! How soon do we open for business? Patience, gentlemen. First, there are some tests to be made.
Tests?
But you said mathematically it should work perfectly. But if there was any error in the construction, well, we must test it to find out.
And so, the next day, the sandbag test is made.
What's the sandbag test for, Bixby? The sandbags represent our future riders. This test will show us if a human being will remain in the car as it takes the turns and banks, or will be thrown from it.
The car is released, and it rolls down an incline, gathering speed. Then it reaches the first drop. At 106 miles per hour, it plummets earthward. And then,
everything seems to be going according to calculations. Whoa! Look at that car go!
People will come from all over to ride here.
The test is a success. The sandbags remain in the car, which returns from the first ride unscathed.
that night. Gentlemen, I drink to the success of our amusement park. Success! Success! After Bixby leaves, Crossan turns to Kane. Did you hear him? Our amusement park. He's a partner. But with our money, Kane. Yours and mine.
Yeah, we were fools to give him a third partnership.
But there's a way, Kane. A way of getting it back. A way of getting rid of him.
You mean kill him?
Why not? We can make it look like an accident. What's your plan, Crossan? The next morning, Kane and Crossan met Bixby at the park. What's up, Kane? Crossan here noticed something funny as the car made the big drop yesterday. Yes, come over there. I'll show you as the car passes us. Kane, here can start the car after we get there. The two men make their way to the bottom of the 200-foot drop. Then Crossan signals the crane to release the car. Now lean over and watch that spot there. Here she comes. After this, there's one more test I'd like to make, Crossan. As the car, loaded with sandbags, hurtles down the almost perpendicular incline, Crossan pushes Bixby right into its path. Ah! He is killed instantly. A ton of steel flying at 105 miles per hour packs a mighty wallop. They call it an unfortunate accident. Kane and Crossan have it hushed up. The publicity might harm business. Well, today's the big day, Kane.
Yeah, and look at the crowds flocking in already.
Yes, the crowds come from all over, as Kane had predicted. They fill the newly renovated amusement park, each person clamoring to be the first to ride the eighth wonder of the world.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think it is only fitting and proper that before we open this wondrous roller coaster to you, the public, my partner and I, who built and planned it, be the first to ride it.
The two eager men get into the car and sit down.
Imagine, Crossan, poor Bixby never even got to ride his own brainchild.
A shame, Kane. A real shame. The car is released, and it begins to move down the incline, gathering speed. Here comes the first drop, Kane.
I'm gonna close my eyes. I'm afraid.
The crowd is still. A hush has fallen over it. The only sound heard is the whirring of the roller coaster car over its curved track. Then,
here they come. They're coming back.
The car moved up the 200-foot incline and came to a stop. The two men in the car didn't move. They just sat there, leering, their heads at a grotesque angle, their eyes bulging.
What the? They're dead, both of them. Their necks broken.
That's right. They were dead. Their necks snapped like dried twigs. Yep, it was the fastest, the greatest roller coaster in the world. So fast, so constructed, that no human being could survive the strain of a ride on it. Bixby had thought about that. It was the one test he still had to make. Too bad he didn't get the chance. See you next issue. Bye now.
The Vault of Horror. Ha 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 ha. Don't look so surprised. Yes, I am the Vault Keeper. I've been invited by the Crypt Keeper to tell one of my better stories to you. And in return, I've asked him to relate one of his chillers in my magazine, The Vault of Horror. So come in and relax. We can hold hands. I have a whole casket full of them. Settle back now, and let me spin the yarn I call The Curse of the Arnold Clan.
And it's signed by the artist is Johnny Craig.
It is the evening of December 31st, 1950, New Year's Eve, at the home of Robert and Bess Arnold. We find them engrossed in hectic preparations for a party.
Oh, Robert, how could you be so thoughtless as to forget to pick up your costume from the store?
Well, there's no use crying over spilt milk. Store's closed now. I'll just have to go without... Wait a minute. Up in the attic. There's lots of old clothes up there. Clothes worn by my ancestors generations ago. I'll run up and have a look.
Well, I hope you find something. And hurry, dear. It's getting late.
Haven't been up here since I was a kid. Confound it. I'm certain those old clothes were in one of these trunks. Maybe that one over there in the corner. Ah, here's what I was looking for. Hope they fit. Don't want to say. What's this? An old book? The Curse of the Arnold Clan. Never saw this before. A book telling all about my ancestors. Written in 1903, almost 50 years ago. Wonder what it says.
1750. The first of the Arnolds, Jeremiah, lies in his deathbed with 2 sons, Jason and George, at his side.
My sons, I shall soon be of another world. I leave a will stating that my wealth is to be divided between thee both on January 1st, 1751. Use the money wisely.
But one son, Jason Arnold, brooded and sulked as New Year's Day moved closer, ever closer. I shall not share father's wealth with George. I am older than he. I should have it all. I will not be done out of it. And by New Year's Eve, Jason had decided. Jason, 'tis New Year's Eve. Why do you bring me out here in this wilds? Why? Patience, George. I have something to show thee. There, George, there before thee is what I have brought thee to see. Jason, be ye daft? On such a freezing eve, you bring me here to gaze at a mere hole in the earth. 'Tis no mere hole in the earth, George. 'Tis thy grave it be. Jason tossed his brother's limp form into the gaping hole, and heaped the cold, moist dirt upon him. Suddenly, Jason! What? 'Tis George, calling to me from his grave. Jason! I curse thee, Jason! I curse thee and thy descendants!
every 50 years on New Year's Eve, the eldest of thy descendants shall be buried alive. This be my curse, brother Jason." In a fearful state, Jason finished his work and returned home. He received the entire inheritance, but he lived in fear. "Going crazy. Can't forget George's curse. If I be alive in 50 years, I will be the eldest Arnold. Mayhap I give him a decent burial. This curse will not occur." And so it was that with the spring thaw, George's body was found, and later laid to rest in a mausoleum. "Here, my brother, I bury with thee with thy trusty musket and powder horn, in the hope that now at last you will set my mind at rest." But Jason found no peace. He squandered all his wealth, trying to find happiness, and on New Year's Eve, 50 years later, while cowering in a cellar, his house collapsed, and Jason was buried alive. Ah! The first curse of the Arnold clan had come to pass.
Quite a treasure of information, eh? What would you do if you were reading that book? And it was about your family. Of course, you'd read on. And that's just what Robert Arnold did.
Jason Arnold had died in 1800, and for the next 50 years, all was well, until New Year's Eve, 1850. "The Arnold curse shan't work on me. I've lived in this wilderness for years, all alone. I'll not be buried under a falling house, or any such thing." No, there were no buildings or people by which Albert Arnold could be harmed. Nothing, except,
"What? Quicksand! I'm trapped in a bog of quicksand! Help! Help! I'll be buried alive!"
and for the second time, the curse of the Arnold clan had taken its toll. It was the same in 1900, on New Year's Eve. William Arnold, while working the night shift in a coal mine, was trapped in a shaft cave-in. That's all there is. Let's see. Last time was in 1900. Then the next time will be New Year's Eve, 1950. Good gosh, that's tonight. And I'm the oldest living Arnold. Ha! Why, it's ridiculous. Those deaths were only a lot of freak accidents. Ha! What nonsense. Nothing's going to happen to me. I found a honey of a colonial costume, dear. I'll be ready in a few minutes. Please hurry, Robert. We're late now.
Well, Robert and Bess went to the party. They had a gay time laughing, drinking, dancing, and then the host made an announcement. That's right, folks. A scavenger hunt. Everyone will draw a ticket, and the first person to bring back whatever's written on their ticket gets a prize. Come on.
Oh, goodness. I have to bring back a moose head. Gosh. I have to find an old musket and a powder horn. Where the devil will I... Hey. My ancestor, George Arnold, was buried with a musket and powder horn. And the cemetery isn't far from here, either. Cemetery is just ahead. I'll have that musket and powder horn before the others even start. I'll have to sneak in. The caretaker would never let me in this time of night, especially in this get-up. There's the mausoleum over there. Boy, this place is weird.
Hope this doesn't take long. I'm in luck. This door is so old, the lock has just about rusted away. I could have opened it with a hairpin. Ah, here it is. The last resting place of George Arnold. Musket and powder horn should be inside. Ugh, this slab is sure heavy. Whew, boy, that was a job. Ugh, what a smell. Here's the musket and... What's that? Blazes! The caretaker's coming to make his rounds. I can't let him find me here. What'll I do? He's coming closer. If he sees this open door, he'll investigate. I'll hide in one of the coffins. After he passes, I'll leave. Old George won't mind if I use his resting place for a while. Now to close this top. Hey, what happened? The lid! Great Scott! It locked when I shut it. I'm locked in. I can't get out. Help! Caretaker! Caretaker! Please help me. Get me out. I'll be buried alive. Please. Please.
But the caretaker, his eyes muffled against the cold, doesn't hear the cries for help that are being drowned out by the wintry gale, and he plods tiredly on. Robert's screams lasted for a long time, but finally, inexorably, they ceased, and then across the cemetery came the chimes of a church bell, tolling the hour of midnight. It was New Year's Eve, and the curse of the Arnold clan once again had come true. The end. Well, Robert really got himself into a grave situation, didn't he? Poor Robert. Too bad he had to go out with the old year. At least he won't have a New Year's hangover. No, Robert wasn't dead drunk. He was just dead. Well, visit with me in my magazine, The Vault of Horror. Drop in. Any old crime.
And I think that's the end. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you could like, comment, and subscribe, that would be appreciated. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys later.